1:30 for the
I think so.
20 minutes.
How you doing?
Fine, how are you?
Good. You been here before?
I haven't, for years I've been coming down here, but I've never been at this part of the place before.
Gotcha. Well, this has only been open since May of 2017, and we've run it a few times. We're really trying to kick up priority now.
And you're making bourbon?
It won't be bourbon. As a matter of fact, is it all?
Yeah, that's
Oh, great. The owner of this, the first owner of this place was 6 years dead before anybody wrote down calling Kentucky whiskey bourbon. This has all the elements of it though. But this was just a small farm distillery, and so there was only 66. The still was only 66 gallons, so they weren't producing enough really to go in barrels. It was just white whiskey going into jugs like that, and that was a portable, preserved way they could trade it instead of letting their crops spoil. And also brandy was probably a factor out here. We know they had orchards, and there's a spot down near the entrance. There's nothing there for you to really see, but it was referred to as the Apple House. So we don't know exactly what the implications of that were. But okay, this is going pretty good. We're gonna do the same thing in that barrel.
Okay.
Let me make sure this is still.
So exactly what are you making right now? What is this part of the step called?
This is we're cooking the corn, and so the corn cooks. We're doing 70 pounds of corn per barrel, per 50 gallon barrel, and it cooks at the hottest temperature. So we boil the water first, cook the corn in the boiling water. We'll move on to wheat when it's a little bit cooler. And the crucial thing is that we get the malt in between 140 and 150, closer to 150 because we want to hold it there for a while so those starches can convert and really give the yeast something to eat. And produce the alcohol.
There makes the chemical process actually.
Well, it's actually a biological process.
Biological.
Yeah, they're consuming those sugars and they're excreting or pooping alcohol. So
How nice.
that's
awfully
what it
convenient of it.
Okay, put that one there for a while. Okay, let's do the
more
same.
water over there.
Yeah, we'll just do the same thing here. Is this the first time you see it run?
Yes.
Oh, really? Oh, hey, buddy. Come here, Pop. Come on. You want some whiskey?
Yeah. You got that cooler. Yummy.
Say that's my kind of dog, Gary. So basically, they're making what we would today just know is it's just whiskey,
Yeah.
just straight up whiskey.
We call it, if you get something like it at the store, we call it White Dog, or a new make. It wasn't moonshine, there was nothing illegal about it.
This is pre-colonial era or
No,
colonial era?
it's actually called the Federal era. They got their still in 1808.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it was in between whiskey taxes. One of the questions we got when we were starting this is like, well, if they were doing a distillery, where's the tax records? And the answer was the Jefferson administration repealed Washington's taxes. And there wasn't another, during the original owner's lifetime, there was not another whiskey tax until the War of 1812 to help pay for the war. And it was very ill thought of and repealed as quickly as possible, and then he died in 1822. So. And we don't really know how close the 1812 tax was collected. It's like we think of it as such a big deal because whiskey's a big industry, it's a luxury, all that. This is just part of farm work, So. Things really got past the big boys when they passed the 1862 excise tax, and at that point you could either go big, go illicit, or quit.
I'll be there.
Get some wood from behind there.
Well, this is the kind of thing everybody needs to have one.
What's that?
Their own distillery.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, and realistically, Locust Grove, this was probably work being done by enslaved African American women. When you look at the breakdown of farm labor, men did production and women did processing, and this is literally crop processing. And the whole workforce, except for maybe 2 people at Locust Grove, was enslaved African Americans. How are we looking? Why don't you go ahead and keep stirring? I'm going to put a little bit more water in.
Okay.
And hold the paddle up, and I'm going to see if I can just rinse anything that's hanging around there. Okay, flip it. There we go. All right. Keep on mixing. Let's go ahead and switch. Toss the paddle into this one. Okay, go ahead and start on this one, and I'll get the big bag. This is the hardest thing we do all day because there's 70 pounds per barrel, and then the other one's quite a bit less.
Oh, so out of these bags, yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, I leave them in these bags because Brooks Grains, they donate all of our grain, and so I always like to bring attention to our sponsors.
Oh, let's see the front of the bag.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Brooks Grain.
Yeah.
Louisville, Kentucky.
And over on the bar, the Woodford Reserve, the Spirits of French Lick, and the Copper and Kings, those are all sponsors. So.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'm gonna have to belly up to the bar here in a bit.
Yeah, we got some good stuff.
Yeah.
Ready?
Definitely.
Okay, and let's go. Go for it. Like, this is our first, hey, it's our first big project since Christmas time. That started getting ready for us. Like, wow, I'm really feeling it. I went home exhausted last night. I just passed the point where I can expect to just go full tilt and not feel it.
Wow.
Take it a while before it begins to look yummy.
Yeah, exactly.
Before it begins to look like anything any self-respecting drunkard would at least consume, right?
When it gets done on the still, it'll just be a clear liquid.
Yeah.
Now, I've read that this kind of tastes like beer at this point, at some point during the process, early on.
Well, they call it distiller's beer. And if you were to taste it once, the thing is, they call it that. This kind of process is very grainy. The solids are always in there. And so once this does get to fermenting, you will get something somewhere between like cornbread and beer. That's basically what it is. The only real difference
between cornbread and beer, really.
The only difference between beer or bread and whiskey is how you cook it. So, hey, Carol. Patty's getting trial by fire. We're doing a 3-person job with 2 people.
That's usually the way.
Yeah. How's it going over there?
It's going fine.
Good.
What's up?
There was a guy from Vendome came down.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he's doing he said he's working on a story about us and Mount Vernon in conjunction. So
Excellent.
yeah, they did both the projects.
So how do you like this work, Patty? You see making a career out of this?
Well, it's interesting. Fascinating, actually.
So you're adding the corn now?
Yeah, so this gets cooked at the hottest, and I'm hoping we're keeping the temperatures where they need to be because we're trying to be sure we use all of our boiling water in the right spot, and the corn has to go into boiling, so we're trying to get that done all first. And so the next thing in the wheat goes a little bit cooler, and there's gonna be a little bit of guesswork there, and then the malt is the really crucial part because we've got to wait for this to fall like just below 150. Because it's got to hold between 140 and 150 for a while for that starch conversion to really happen. That's what give the yeast something to eat.
Huh.
So. And then we don't have to load it up in 20 paint buckets and take it up to the tankers and decide, let's be here with a pump. Yeah.
There may be too much authenticity, though.
Well, I was thinking the other day, actually, William Booth Draper sells linen sacking. It's actually specifically like the stuff they use for sacks, and it would be worth hand stitching it up with like strong thread, but that might be an option. I was just glad we had a scale to measure it with this time. No, I did it last night before I left. Yeah, I packaged it all up nice. Okay, let's go ahead and switch to the courthouse.
I'm going home for the day.
Okay.
But I wish you well here.
Thank you so much.
And I hope it stays between 140 and 150. And I'll be back tomorrow. But I guess I'll see you Monday or Tuesday?
I think Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, see you there.
Right.
Hard work, but I sure like it there in spreadsheets.
Oh, yeah. It's much more exciting.
Yeah.
So you have a thermometer you periodically will stick down into it. And
now for these guys, people who have been doing this stuff all their life, especially again, you're talking about enslaved African American women, people who learn to cook and stuff like that. With that much conditioning and that much practice, they wouldn't have needed a thermometer. They just go.
They just know by the way it looks. And
looks, feels, yeah. And I know that from really if I'm at home, the period craft I'm doing usually sewing, and for me it's no big deal to judge 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 5/8 inches. I can hit it within a couple threads. It's just one of those things. It's like after you do something so much, you learn it.
It becomes natural.
Yeah.
Nature.
That it? Okay, that's the worst thing we'll do all day.
All right. I'll hold you to that.
Okay. I'm going to take its temperature, be sure it doesn't have coronavirus.
Don't say that.
crap, that's already too cold. Okay. Yeah, we just gotta have more boiling water. I figured we would.
What had your temperature dropped to?
We're below 150. Okay. Let's just start. We'll get. We'll just do buckets of boiling water. Just one. Yeah. So if you want to go on the spigot, I'll go on this part. This is gonna go a lot. Hey, Casey.
Hello.
I was just telling. Actually, you're here right in time. If you could, we're gonna be pouring water. If you could just switch between these and keep them really good mixed up with your paddle or the rake.
Okay.
Thank you. You got here right after I told Patty that we're done with the hardest part of the thing.
Oh, okay. So am I stirring or?
Yeah, just stir it up. Just keep mixed. I'll show you. The best way to do it, the best motion, is if you on both of them, you take one straight down, out like that, like you're rowing, and it'll keep it nice and mixed. Have you met Patty?
No, I haven't.
Oh, this is Patty. This is Casey.
Nice to meet you, Casey.
Yes, I was teaching.
Oh, are you?
Yes. I have a Shakespeare class every 2 weeks that I teach.
Oh, really? Are you doing it through Kentucky Shakespeare?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
You here, Brian?
Yeah, just one, and you gotta heat this up.
Oh my goodness, where did you get those gloves? I need those.
She brought them home.
Those, that's a good idea.
So helpful.
I'm sure I won't get too cold.
Yeah.
My hands are the first things to freeze.
If you stay in here long enough, you'll probably stay pretty warm.
That's what I love about the sun. The sun is relentless.
You've got a lot of fire in the area, so
Yeah.
it's only going to get so cold.
We had, like I say, it's a little bit. We had more people working at working at the distillery at that point, but we did one of these in 2 Novembers ago for a video, and it was frigid cold outside, but on this porch was fine.